All right. We will wait some minutes before we start, since we have several people who have decided to sign up today, which is really nice to see. We actually received over 120, I think, signups.
120 signups for today's webinar, which is really great. We're super happy to have you all here, and we're going to try to be super effective with the 30 minutes that we have and give value for the time you have here. But let's wait a couple of minutes before we start, right?
Yeah, definitely. Make sure to grab some food as well. It's always nice to listen in when you eat, meanwhile you're listening in. So we'll wait some minutes and then we will eventually start. And we can see several people also dropping in. I just would like to already mention that you can already write in the chat. We will have a Q&A session in the end. And if we don't have time to answer all the questions, of course, we will answer them afterwards. So please, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask. Both me and Padra will be able to answer them. If not now, then we'll do it later.
Yeah, we'll try to figure it out during the webinar here. And like Philip says, we will get back to you if we miss answering some of the questions, so you all get the answers you need.
Perfect. Let's wait some couple of minutes more, and then we'll start. But meanwhile, we are waiting. We can just mention that we actually are a quite new partner together with Raptor, and we will go through what Raptor does and what Rule does together. But we decided to join into this partnership because we saw a lot of synergies and actually the kind of customers that we both are working for, which is really nice to, of course, hear. And we always are looking into what kind of partnerships that can help our customers to succeed. So yeah, we'll wait one more minute and then I think we can start.
Yeah, well, like Philip says, I think we saw a lot of synergies in working together, and we're going to explore that a bit during this webinar. So you get a full picture in how we can assist you in your journey with recommendations, personalization, and then activating that data in the best way forward.
Perfect.
So should we start?
Yes, please. I'm really hyped to do this. So let's go.
That's great. So today's topic is from inbox to insights, trends shaping tomorrow's email personalization. Like Philip said, we are around 120 signups. Not sure how many participants right now, but we're super eager that you all are here. We have 30 minutes to go through everything that we are planning to go through, basically. I hope the sound is good, and if it's not, please write in the chat, and we'll try to figure it out. Let's jump into it.
Should we start with just a short introduction of both of us? I can start. My name is Philip, and I'm head of customer success at Rule. I work together with our support and customer success department, which basically is our departments for customer experience. I have background in Stockholm. I've been working with sales for several years, and I really love doing it. And on the private side, I like to train a lot, not only in sales, but also in general when it comes to workout. My motivation is definitely leadership. I like to lead internally, but also externally. So I like to help customers succeed in our platform and with their goals.
Great. From my side, my name is Padra. I'm the Partnership Sales Director for Raptor in Sweden. I'm responsible for all of the commercial activities here in Sweden when it comes to both partnerships, such as we have with Rule, but also direct interactions with our customers. My background is that I'm from south of Sweden, from a small city called Lund. And what I've been doing for the last, I think, 10 years is working with scale-ups, partnerships, and so on and so forth. The last year or two, I just opened my eyes for skiing and just trying to find great hills to go down the black and red hills and see if I can manage that. Motivated by sales and partnerships.
Great.
Quick summary. Yes. Quick summary about Raptor as well. So I don't know how many of you know about Raptor, so I think we just can talk about it briefly here. It's a company started back in 2010, a Danish company, where we developed a bespoke recommendation engine for a company called eBay, now owned by Schibsted. Now we got acquired 2021 by a Quantum, group. It's part of seven other companies, and it's part of Altor, which is a Swedish investment fund. We're around 65 employees with offices in Stockholm, Copenhagen, Aarhus, and Amsterdam. And we have around 300 customers, over 300 customers today within the verticals fashion, travel, healthcare, and do-it-yourself. And I think if we go that we can get some logos as well. Some of the logos you can see here, known brands as such as Bestseller, Bauhaus, Jysk, Exbig, and so on and so forth.
Cool. And I'll continue with those of you that don't know what Rule does and who we are. We started 2007. We're a Swedish bootstrap company, so we decided what we would like to do with the product and with the company. We are around 30 employees. We have offices in Stockholm, Visby, and Åre. And then we have over 2,000 customers, which is a really nice number to see. We also have different kind of industries that we work with. In this webinar, we will speak a lot about e-commerce business and how e-commerce works. But in overall, we also have customers in brands, media, charity, etc. So everyone is welcome to join in when it comes to Rule, no matter size or the industry that you work in. Some example of our customers that we work with. I'll continue. There is basically three things we do in our platform. First of all, we collect a lot of data, and the main reason, of course, why we have integration together with Raptor is because we need the data. The data is used whenever you want to do a segmentation part to know which customer should receive what, and then you send the targeted communication with newsletter automation or, of course, SMS as a channel as well. And together combined with Raptor, why this works really good is because Raptor works when it comes to recognizing the users and their behaviors across the platforms to also define them and send personalized content and product recommendations. So first of all, they recognize it, but they also give us the content that we deliver to the customer in the personalized experience. So this is the way we work together with Raptor, and this is why it's quite important for us to have integration, because without this, we don't know the data in Rule. Then it stays in Raptor.
That's great, great overview and understanding the synergies of actually having a personalized experience. So for this webinar, we were trying to decide on a structure, and what we chose was Dell's maturity ladder. It's simply a ladder in which you can evaluate the level of maturity when it comes to working with data. Essentially, what you want to do here is going from the first step, which is customer experience aware, to the second one, which is proficient, then third one savvy, and the fourth one, which is the goal, which would be customer experience driven. What we have then done is to put this in our context of inbox to insight with email personalization, and with the short and easy name, customer experience plus email personalization maturity ladder. The model is stating the obvious here. It's a good way to structure the webinar, and what we want to do is give you all of the insights and some cases through these steps so you get good value for this webinar. So hope you're settled in, and then let's look at the first step. So the first step, what is the attributes in being in the first step of being a customer experience aware and understanding that you have some type of data, but you don't really know how to work with it? What we see with companies that are within this step is that they work, of course, with doing some weekly sendouts to their entire subscriber base. It's not personalized, it's one-to-many communications, and with a manual campaign production. It could look like something where the email specialist is going to the purchasing category manager and asking about which type of products should we have in the newsletter, or what type of content should we have in the newsletter. Then going to the graphic designer and asking them to design this type of newsletter, and then sending this out. This is, of course, super time consuming. You also don't have great engagement. You have a low conversion rate, of course, and you don't have high click rate, open rate, of course, as well. The problem with this is, of course, when top management is looking at email as a channel, a revenue channel, is compared to the other channels, and it doesn't perform as good. So it's down prioritized because of low top line contribution. You also just focus on revenue. You don't have top focus on the customer experience when getting the newsletter and not having personalized content. You're not having the first and zero party data, which will make it harder for you in the years to come with the data enrichment. And you're not looking at the customer lifetime value and loyalty. So I think if we go to the next one, thanks. But here we just try to look at how to take the next steps. We do have a case here which I want to touch on as well. But what is important here to go from aware to the next one is to start gathering zero party data for segmentation. Start building a list of customers with the help of your physical stores, where you can have memberships and building your member and loyalty program, where you're getting more and more customers where you understand who they are. And you start doing some dynamic product recommendations by using the zero party data for segmentation. Here, you also should start looking at building automated flows, a welcome flow for new customers, abandoned cart flows, product interest, category interest, and so on and so forth. We did this for one of our customers called Naya, and what we did with automating those flows is basically 5% of those emails which were automated and was sending out was making up of around 50% of the total email revenue, which is crazy numbers. With that said, also, automated flows basically means that you don't need to use any resources internally. One thing I just want to mention here is as well, you can see the bubbles here. There's some numbers which you can use. We will be able to send this presentation out to all of you or make it accessible so you can download it. You can use this to build business cases with open and click rate specifically for this specific verticals.
I think these numbers are quite interesting because we get quite often questions like, do you have benchmark for the numbers? And we don't really track that kind of benchmark. We are used to sending the communication, but we don't benchmark. So I think these numbers are really good to look at if you're trying to do this.
I totally agree. And I think the question pops up all the time.
Yeah.
How do we actually compare to our competitors or the industry as a whole, basically?
Definitely.
I think we have a video here we want to show a bit, and if you press play there, we can look at it. And this is something we want to show in how we make it easy together with Rule and Raptor in using and activating the data. And with the integration we have today, you save a lot of time. You get the segmentation for the products into Rule's platform, where you do have some type of drag and drop in where to put the products in the newsletter, who to send it out, and each newsletter will look different depending who is sent to. So it will be hyper personalized and create more engagement, higher conversion rate, and of course higher open rate and click through rate with this design. It's more relevant, of course, and yeah, it's easy to manage. And I think the people we showed this to, which are email specialists, loved it, and it makes easy going with the work, basically.
Yeah, it's quite easy to start using this because it's basically just a widget that you put into your template, and then we fetch the information from Raptor.
Yeah. How are we with the time? I think I need to speed up a bit.
Yeah, we're quite good.
Okay.
Only 16 minutes
Good.
more.
Talking about the second step here, what is the characteristics of the proficient level here, the attributes? Here you start working with more dynamic and algorithmic product and content selection. You do have some type of segmentation. This segmentation is based on the zero-party data. And you're also starting to do some single email triggers. It could be abandoned cart, where some specific events on the website then triggers an email automatically. You're starting to see email as a scalable revenue channel as well, where you can scale the number of emails you're sending out, but they're super personalized. The pains here, and I think my good colleague Philip is going to touch on it as well, is of course the fear of frequency of
Yeah.
volume of different emails, and we're going to show that a bit more later on. But you also have overall contribution is still low for the email, and the zero party data segmentation and getting that information from the customers is very time consuming and static. So you really need to move on to first party data. Like I mentioned, you need to go from being an entrepreneur to an analyst and starting to look at the aggregation or the marginal gains, as we call it. Basically, to make it more scalable, you need to be more precise in how can we make sure that the abandoned cart email is performing best. How can we optimize the product interest with email? How can we split test, streamline, and automate the processes, and so on and so forth. You start also being, or you're starting to look at a way to track first party data on the website, understanding what the customer is looking at when it comes to categories, products, and so on and so forth, and using that data to personalize and having more specific recommendations. Here is also important to understand that the email is also a tool for loyalty and retention, and you start focusing on the CLV. To give you a short example of how we did this with one of our customers, TUI, is that we started to personalize the headlines of their sendouts on the newsletters. And it was based also on what type of package the customer was looking at. It could be that they were looking at hotels, it could be that they were looking at cruises, or just flights. So by understanding this, we could actually do personalized sendouts specifically on what they were looking at. And what we saw in this split test was that we doubled their average click-through rate from 12% to 21% just by changing the headlines and personalizing what newsletter they were getting with content. We can go through the next one, and also we can touch on this as well. And I think a lot of you notice that looking at what type of headline performs best is super important to have a high open rate and click-through rate, and starting to experiment with this to understand what to have in the headline. When coming to the third step, the attributes of being customer experience savvy is that you're starting to mastering the dynamic segmentations. You use zero and first party data, starting to think omni-channel, and you see data as an asset. The readiness in the organization is, of course, to invest in data super high, and also that you understand that the enrichment of having data is important to perform the best. Here, you usually see some complexity in the customer journey, where you, as a marketeer, will start to need some more technical resources to understand the data. You have some data silos which you want to get rid of, and to do that, you need to have a more organizational approach, a holistic approach, and those are the main pains within this stage. Yeah, I think we can go through the last one. And to get to the last one, what the attributes is here is basically that you have a full omni-channel orchestration. You use AI in segmentation and prediction, and the organization is built around the customer journey and not the channel. So it's not specifically the channel that is the important part. You can then use the data that you get, for example, from offline stores, and use that data in activating that data in the email channel. That's basically understanding where the customer wants to be met and have the information, and then using that to your best benefit. Data is also the most valuable asset within this. For example, retail media and using suppliers as an additional revenue stream. The biggest pain here is, of course, are you a marketeer or engineer? I think within this space, you start using a lot of engineering resources to be able to build the customer journey and moving forward. I think before I just leave it over to my dear colleague here is a quick summary from going from data aware to data driven is that you avoid linear scaling of the email team with automated processes. You let the data determine which products or content to showcase, and you use the product data for dynamic subject fields and to boost open rates. And finally, I'll end with a quote here. The email marketing is one of the best tools for data collection, and think about expanding your customer subscriber database with memberships and so on and so forth. The bigger subscriber base you have, the better it is for you to understand your full potential of your customer base and how you use that data.
Right.
Good.
Very good. A very good quote, of course. We're happy to see this one.
Yep.
I would also like everyone to be reminded that you can write in the chat if you have any questions. We will go through them. So please let us know if there is something you need help with or if there is anything you wonder. And if we don't have time to answer these questions, we will do it afterwards. So I would just like to show step by step how easy this actually is to set up in our platform and how fast you actually can start using this whenever you have, for example, Raptor, or whenever you have data that you know that you want to use. So in our platform, we have a function called Journey Builder, and this function is a great way to set up your different kind of flows to trigger them based on different kind of data assets and data points. So in my example here, I've just showed you some examples that you can start using. For example, happy birthday is a really good way to, of course, congratulate the subscriber, but you can also use that kind of communication to send personal recommendations. We usually recommend to not only set up a flow when it's your birthday, maybe you should also do it 2 days before or 4 days before, so you actually can order before your birthday so you receive the package for your birthday, because that's most people maybe don't buy on their birthday. They're used to getting packages and getting different kind of presents. So I really recommend to have this kind of flow. Onboarding flow, you also mentioned it as a welcome flow to welcome the new subscribers. It's a really good way to just communicate, this is us and this is what we stand for, and a good way also to personalize the content. If you know what they are watching on the site, or if you know that they bought specific products during the onboarding process, you can also recommend them different kind of products. Engaged and retention flow is also good, of course, to set up, and this can be set up in different kind of ways. I will also show you an example of how you can send like the weekly newsletter and include product recommendations. So this is really based on, of course, what kind of sendouts you want to send, but engagement and retention is always important, since if you have already onboarded a customer, you shouldn't just stop there. You should continue contacting the customer, but of course with good information. And the win back flow, I think this is maybe the like most common one in when it comes to e-commerce. A lot of customers are speaking about it, a lot of companies are talking about it, yet they set up simple win back emails that says, hi, we see that you haven't bought for 16 or 90 days. That's good, of course, to start using it, but it's also better to include maybe kind of products that I bought last time and recommend same product, or product that is personalized based on what a customer have bought. So for example, if I buy a black t-shirt in Raptor, they can also see that people buying this black t-shirt, maybe they also buy the white sneakers because they work together combined based on the data. And I would just like to show how actually this works when it comes to the insight part and when it comes to the inbox part. Insight is more, of course, whenever you're working with this and you have the data. So in our platform, this is really easy to set up. As you saw the video before, you can add widgets for this, and then we fetch the data from Raptor. So the setup is quite fast and simple to set up. And whenever you have done this, you can also preview the email in our platform to see how it's going to look at the customer's end or the subscribers end. And this is personalized. So if you decide to preview an email based on another subscriber that have done something else, we will show different kind of product recommendations. And when it comes to the inbox part, this is actually how it looks from the customer's view. So if you check at the right side, you can see that it's called weekly recommendations, and this flow can maybe be something set up every Thursday 9 a.m. for example, when it sends out weekly recommendation based on what you have done or not done. And it's a really simple flow, and it's really fast to set it up. And I mean, if you haven't tried it before, try it, because that's the best way to know if it's going to work or not. So now we have spoken about all the positive things and like everything is so good, but of course there are challenges.
Yeah, there is. I think we mentioned it a bit earlier as well. And one of the biggest challenges is, of course, sending too much emails, having different automated workflows, and so on and so forth. But just the high volume, high frequency, I would say.
For example, this
Yeah.
is a good way to see actually when you have set up a lot of emails. This is an example of a subscriber's inbox within 1 month. Several of these emails are actually sent at the same day. So this could be definitely one of the biggest challenges, and we hear a lot of companies feeling that they are sending too much because they are not looking at the frequency. We actually have a solution for this, and that is our function called Journey Builder, where I showed you before how to set it up and the trigger on different kind of flows. But what we do actually in Journey Builder is that, let's say that I have my birthday in 2 days, and I'm also in the onboarding flow on the first day, and I'm going to receive the weekly newsletter. Let's say that I match all these three today. What we will do, instead of sending three different kind of emails, is that we're going to combine them into one email with three different kind of communication parts in the email. So instead of sending this as a three email, it's going to look like this, as one email. So I'll let this one go through, and I will explain it as soon as it starts again. First, you can see the "It's your birthday soon," which you can see to the left. Then it's going to come "Welcome to us at Rule," which is the onboarding flow. And then you have the product recommendations, which is the third flow. This is a really good way to keep in touch with your customers. Instead of sending three emails, you send one email and then you combine them. Is this a good solution, Padre?
It looks great. And I mean, the reduction of the frequency and the volume in an inbox is great. It's a goodwill. It's a great customer journey. I would say customer experience for the customer.
Yeah.
So it looks good. It's a great functionality.
Happy to hear that you liked it. And we, of course, see that a lot of our customers starts using this. The main reason why we built this function is because we saw that a lot of companies are sending too much emails to their subscribers. And instead of excluding them, you can include them, but in a different way. So it's letting Journey Builder send the right communication to the right subscriber.
We were good with the time, so
Definitely, we have the
some,
Q&A.
some minutes over for Q&A, and if you have any questions, you just put them down in the chat. What we will do is, of course, if we don't have the time to answer all of the questions, we will get back to you on it. I think we have 2 minutes left. We will also make the presentation accessible, so you can download it and look at it if you want that, especially with the numbers for the benchmark numbers.
We have a question here. Is the integration up and going? That's the first question.
You want to answer that one?
Of course. Yes, we do have an integration today where we basically fetch the data from Raptor. And the first step, we have decided to do it as simple as possible with the product recommendation. So this can already be set up today.
Yeah.
But of course, you train the data and you train the subscribers in your platform. So you have the functionalities behind the scene, and we are the one that communicates when it comes to the recommendations.
So the orchestration, you will have all of the data from us, and the activation will be then handled from Rule. So definitely, it's up and running.
And I can also flick in a question that we actually received before this webinar, was that we've got some customers asking, like SMS, is it a good channel? And I mean, from our end, we receive this question quite often, like, is it a good channel? And the best way to answer it is just to try it. I mean, if you haven't tried it before and you don't know if it's good, then the best way to know if it's good, try it.
Yeah.
Because if you're not trying it, you won't know if it's a good channel or not for your subscribers.
You need the data to understand that, right? That's
definitely.
And it's different depending on which customer it is.
Of course.
Everyone wants to have different touch points.
Definitely.
Great.
Cool. And I think if we receive any more questions, you can, of course, ask us anywhere. We also have in the end here a connect with us where you can, of course, connect with me and Padra. We both will actually also be in Gothenburg for the Congress next week. So please visit us if you stick around in Gothenburg or if you will be at the Congress and speak with us when it comes to communication and data.
Yeah, hopefully we see some of you there. And thank you for joining us on this webinar.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.